Judge, this is the case, Mr. Wilson.
Okay, thank you. You all may be seated. Mr. Wilson, you brought this case before the court. What's going on?
Yes, Your Honor. I'm here today to request that the court reduce my child support that I currently pay my ex-wife. Currently, I pay $800 a month, but up until last year, I worked for the city, and now I'm currently self-employed, and I make considerably less money. So I was requesting that my child support be lowered to reflect that.
Before we go any further, where is Mrs. White?
I don't know.
You sent her notice that she was supposed to be here today, right?
Yes, she was served.
Okay. So, I guess she didn't understand how serious this was today. All right. So, you said that you used to work for the city.
Yes.
And now you're self-employed.
Yes, I am.
And what do you do?
All right, folks, let's dive into this courtroom drama. The video opens with Judge Thunderbeat calling the session to order and introducing the case of Mr. Wilson versus his ex-wife, Mrs. White. Mr. Wilson is seeking a reduction in his child support payments, arguing that his income has taken a hit since leaving his city job to start a tow truck business. But here's the twist. Mrs. White is nowhere to be found. She was served notice but failed to appear in court. With tensions rising, the big question remains. Will the judge grant Mr. Wilson's request, or will Mrs. White's absence throw a wrench in the proceedings? Let's find out.
I own a tow truck business company.
Okay. Are you making more money or less money now?
I'm making less money. I have a lot more expenses being self-employed, but I make less money.
All right, all right. So based on what you provided to the court, you have some receipts
Yes, I do.
showing what you pay and what daycare expenses. I also see a 1099 here that you have from workers. You have what, 2 employees?
Yes.
Then I'm also seeing a tax return here. Based on this tax return, I have your earnings. It has gone down.
Mm-hmm.
It has gone down. I have you at about $3,700 now.
Yes, that's about
gross.
right. I make about $47,000 a year.
All right. So you say you pay $200 a month in health insurance
For him, yes.
and this is for him only, full
Yes.
coverage for only him, not you and him.
Yeah, it's about, with both of us, it's about $450.
Okay. Just want to make sure because you don't get any credit for yourself. It's only credit for health insurance for your son. You understand that, right?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson presents his case, detailing how his financial situation has changed. Once earning a steady paycheck with the city, he now makes significantly less as a self-employed tow truck operator. He's asking the court to lower his child support, payments from $800 to a more manageable amount. To back up his claim, he's come prepared, with receipts, tax returns, and even a 1099 form as proof of his reduced income. But here's the kicker. Mrs. White isn't here to challenge any of it. Is this an easy win for Mr. Wilson, or will the judge take a closer look at his finances before making a decision? The courtroom is silent, but the stakes couldn't be higher.
So based on that, I have your net and giving you credit for the $200 that you pay in health insurance for your son. Comes out to about $2,834.23, which would bring your new child support amount to $566.85.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson, I do appreciate you being here today and being timely. Thank you. I didn't want you to think that just because Mrs. White decided not to show up today for court, that the court could not move forward. Because in Texas courts, once you are served your own notice with a hearing, you have to appear. And if you do not appear, the other side who's bringing the case does still have the opportunity to ask the court for some sort of relief. So you're here today asking for your child support to be reduced. You submitted evidence to support your stand.
Judge Thunderbeat isn't taking this decision lightly. She carefully examines Mr. Wilson's documents, including his tax returns and health insurance payments for his son. After a thorough review, she confirms that his annual income has indeed dropped to around $37,000. Taking his expenses into account, she calculates a new child support payment of $566.85 per month. Her attention to detail is impressive. She even clarifies that Mr. Wilson only gets credit for the $2 he pays toward his son's health insurance, not his own. This is a masterclass in how courts handle child support modifications, and Judge Thunderbeat makes it clear, fairness and accuracy come first.
Had the opportunity to be here and contest whatever it was that you submitted in court, your 1099s, your tax return, even some of the receipts that you provided. But it was a missed opportunity for her because she decided not to come to court. So in the future, whenever you need to come back to court, maybe to change your order, life change or something like that, just make sure that you always send notice to that other person, because you are able to still receive some sort of relief although they fail to show up. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there anything further?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
The judge delivers her ruling, reducing Mr. Wilson's child support payments to $566 or an $85 per month. But she doesn't stop there. Seizing the moment, she explains an important legal principle. If you're served notice for a court hearing and fail to appear, the court can still proceed without you. Mrs. White's absence didn't stall the case. Mr. Wilson's evidence was enough to warrant a reduction. Before closing, the judge reminds Mr. Wilson to always provide proper notice in the future, even if the other party doesn't show up. It's a valuable lesson for anyone navigating the legal system.
It's Vonda Bailey, and I'm coming to you as the lawyer this time. We have arrived at the educational portion of our show. I just wanted to go over what this segment would cover and how the different scenarios interact with child support under Texas law. I was served to be at a hearing for child support court, but I failed to show up. What happens in that case? Well, let me explain to you what happens in support court with Judge Vonda B. You will receive what's called a default judgment. That's right. As well as in many courts in Texas, if you do not appear after you have been served with a notice of a hearing, you will be defaulted by the court. What does default mean? Default means that whatever the relief that the person who brought the lawsuit was requesting, the court has the discretion to give them that very relief. Now, you do still have to put on your testimony. You still have to provide evidence to the court. The court just won't take your word for it and say, okay, you need a reduction in child support, I'm just going to reduce it. That's not the case. You still are required to put on your evidence. So just keep in mind that although you do not show up for court, the court can still move forward on a.
The video then shifts to an educational segment featuring lawyer Vonda Bailey, who breaks down the legal consequences of missing a court hearing. She explains that in Texas, failing to appear after being served can lead to a default judgment, meaning the court may rule in favor of the party who showed up. However, she stresses that it's not an automatic win. The attending party must still provide solid evidence to support their case. This segment ties everything together, offering practical advice for viewers who might face a similar situation. The video wraps up with a call to action, encouraging viewers to subscribe and share their own stories. It's a powerful reminder that the courtroom isn't just about legal battles, it's about fairness, responsibility, and the well-being of families.